Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome back to That's Life podcast. It's been a few weeks since we last caught up, Ryan and myself. We thought maybe after this game, it might be happy moments and we'll talk about a few things. Not going to shy away from some of the recent problems, but hopefully it'll be somewhat of a happy moment. But it's not. It's not happy at all. It's not happy. The game has finished good 3 hours ago, and my head is still hurting. I'm working today. Luckily, it's not busy, but honestly, I can't concentrate. I didn't even have that much food. It's the 31st of December. It's meant to be nice, pleasant, evening spent with the family, New Year's Eve. Hoped that Chelsea was going to give us a victory and we can move into the new year feeling a little bit upbeat. And here we are, like literally 3 games ago, we were saying Everton, Fulham, Ipswich. Wow, juicy fixtures. We've worked so hard for that 8 wins in a row. Juicy fixtures. We can be in the mix. January window, we're looking good. Ryan, we are now scared. We have Newcastle on the prowl. We've got Man City literally 4 points away. Nottingham Forest are second, Ryan. They have leapfrogged us. How you feeling, brother? How you doing?
Miss bro, I don't know why, if it's our luck, but anytime we're winning, this podcast doesn't happen. And anytime we lose, we get this podcast up. Maybe that's just the curse of the name of this podcast. Just life. That's just life. But Miss, I think last time I was on this channel, I was acting the fool, singing Campeón El Mundo.
I remember,
tossing Abadorori.
Yeah.
I was flying high, Miss. I
You're
don't regret
saying
it
that.
at
You're
all.
saying you were proud. You were proud about a lot of things. You were telling me you were proud.
Yeah, I was. I don't regret. I don't regret it because that is what being a fan is. I was in the mud for 2 years, brother. Let me enjoy 2 weeks of my life for once as a football fan. But I would to set the tone though. These results are hard to swallow no matter what. But I think it's even hard to swallow because the taste of the results signifies that there's some issues there. There's some deep-rooted issues there. And maybe there's some issues that we always knew existed, but that hope that maybe we've turned a corner was there. But there is some deep issues. And I told you this before this match. I said, Ms., because we were supposed to do this podcast 2 days ago. And I was like, Ms., if we win against Ipswich, I still don't want to not talk about the issues that we recognized after Fulham and with the use of certain players and the misuse of certain players. So, yeah, man, happy to see you. I know we're going to leave no stone unturned. So, yeah.
No, 100%, man. Let's get straight into this. Let's start talking about Enzo Maresca first. I think this is a place that we need to start things off with. I know there are a whole heap of other issues as well, but Enzo Maresca, Ryan, overall, we've been satisfied with what he's been able to do with the team, where we are. Not anyone expected us to be in this level as right now, where we are in the table. Not many expected so much improvements from certain players, so early stages in this league. But over the last few weeks, since that Everton game, and I just want to tie in the whole Enzo Maresca, conversation with a few other issues that have been happening, which I feel might have impacted the team, which is not totally Enzo Maresca's fault. And I want to just note it down because we want to revisit. For example, Mudrik's doping test issue. I said, a lot of people laughed at me saying, Miz, nah, come on, man, that has nothing to do with the team, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but life works in a different way. A certain negative, information in the media, it could subconsciously create a bit of a unhappy scenario in the dressing room. That's Mudrik. João Felix, you can clearly see this guy's not really in Enzo Maresca's plans. Nkunku, he's useless at the moment for me. Madueke, his attitude problems as well. Defensively, we have problems. So all of these things, I'm pretty sure, is impacting Maresca, is impacting the team. And as I said, we want to park that for a second and now just solely focus on Enzo Maresca. For me, Ryan, for the past 3 games, this guy, lineups, how he's utilizing certain players, lack of substitutions earlier on against Fulham, because I didn't watch the Everton game. I don't want to comment too much about that. Against Fulham, one sub when we were chasing the game. Even at 1-1, you should be going out there trying to win it. Not good enough for me. Unused sub Felix, and I know, we can't really say too much about Felix. What did he do against Ipswich? Against Ipswich at halftime, how could you see that team and not make any changes? Starting lineup as well, Desarcy. I mean, look, at the moment, I feel like Enzo Maresca, he himself is also not doing the right things. How are you seeing his performance lately?
And I think last game I told you I was really worried when Kukurea was out, and I was like, maybe it's just one too much issues or one too much problems to solve.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
I think the performances of the last 3 games, it kind of reminds me of the performances right before the international break where we started doing well, right? And I think on that podcast I came on and I told you, Maresca, it just seems like we're playing a bit too safe, systematically. We're not asking enough questions in attack. And then it's not only that, not asking enough questions in attack, but we're playing defensively too. And something has to change, if we're going to get results. And he came in after that international break and he changed quite a lot. And I think after that international break there, until 2 games ago or 3 games ago, we saw what it could be. But then problems start coming and he was solving them. I think we didn't lose a game since October against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I think a big breakthrough with Maresca, man, was Lavia being fit. I think with Lavia being fit, what it allowed Maresca to do is not only protect the defense in a bit, but also allowed Maresca to let Enzo be a huge player for us.
Yeah.
Be that free man.
Yeah.
And one big problem before that international break was Enzo being that deep 6 alongside Caicedo and how limited it makes us. You know what I mean? And I think with the injury of Lavia, especially with the injury of Fofana too, we kind of reverted, instead of that dynamic inverted fullback with the midfielders up and down and a lot of people in the half spaces and that dynamic football we saw only 3 games ago. I think right now we just revert back to a flat 3-4-3. Like if you check it out, it's 3 center defenders, a line of 4. We have our winger here and then Kukurea out wide, and then we have 3 on top. And with that, I just felt like we basically started back from where we were in October, or not even October, but where we were in the end of September. So it's like all the progress we made block by block by block, with all the problems and the injuries that steeped into our team, I think that Maresca has to revert back and take 3 steps backwards in order to try to get results for us. And I'll tell you this, with some huge moments of really bad defending, I could see how there was some, like when a match isn't going fair, bro. There's like some chances that they're supposed to go in. And I think for the past 2-3 matches, so I think tactically Maresca did enough to get us over the line in those matches, but it just did not went our way, And I think with what he has, I don't know what much more he could do, and that's why I want to ask you this: what is it about Maresca that you think we should be really critical on this past 3 games?
I would say sometimes for me, Enzo Maresca, I can't comment too much on Everton because I was on vacation. And to be honest, I wasn't too unhappy after the Everton game because I thought, okay, after 8-match winning streak, one game was always bound to be like that. Away to
Yeah.
Goodison, it's very difficult. I'm going to start talking to you, give you my answer to your question from the Fulham performance and the Ipswich performance. The Fulham performance, Ryan, at 1-0 when we were leading 1-0, especially as soon as the second half started. I, as a fan, could see and feel. You know, when you're a fan, you're sitting there and you're going, I'm not feeling good, man. I'm not feeling good. What I'm seeing is not making me feel good. Like, if you revert back to the match against Spurs, even when we were 2-0 down, you're like,
It felt good.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm coming back in this game. I'm so coming back. And we came back. It wasn't even a surprise. The Fulham game at 1-0 as soon as the second half started, the way the energy Fulham had, it's not even that they're more talented than us. They're not. They're not more talented than us, man for man. But they had a lot more desire, a lot more work ethic about themselves. They worked so much harder than us. And I felt I'm not liking this. At that moment, I need Maresca to smell. I need Maresca to. There's a storm coming. There's a storm coming. You know, just before the storm, you can smell that stormy air. I feel Enzo Maresca in these two games. You can sense it. You can see it, brother. You need to do something. I'm not the coach. I'm not the manager. You're the manager. You need to sense this danger that is upon us. Do something. Now, I said after the Fulham game, at 1-0, two things could have been done right. Two things. One or two. One, you go, you know what? I'm going to shut up shop and I'm going to play for the 1-0. Because I don't believe my team is showing me the spirit today, the desire today to go out there and clean up the opposition. So you know what? I might take away maybe an attacker that's being, not that effective today. I might put in another defender to really solidify the defense so that Fulham, it's going to be very difficult for you to score. So that's one option. Or if you don't want to go with that option, you go with option 2. You go, do you know what? I need some ascendancy back in this game. I can't just have Fulham just dictate terms. They're going to eventually score. I could be in trouble. Either I take a defender away, put in a midfielder, put in an attack, whatever. We didn't do any of that. Fulham then equalized. Once they equalized, what did we do, Ryan? Jack all. We continued with the same balance, the same formation that Enzo Maresca keeps talking about. It's about the balance. At 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, brother, I need you to go for the win. At 1-1 at Stamford Bridge against Fulham, I need you to go for the win. You know who went for the win? Fulham. Because their substitutes scored both the goals. Fulham made some substitutes. Both of their substitutes scored. Okay, no problems. At 2-1 when we're losing against Fulham, I want you, Mr. Enzo Maresca, throw the kitchen sink now. Because what's the point if we lose 2-1 or 3-1 or 4-1 or 5-1? You got Mark Yu in the bench. Throw him in. Okay, so that's Fulham. This game, Ryan, I looked at the starting lineup. I knew there was going to be some rotation. And I even said it in my preview that, do you know what? Bring in João Felix. Let's have another attacker in here today. All right. I said Caicedo right back, off the ball, on the ball, midfield. And you can swap that with Cucurella as well. So that Enzo Fernandez is not isolated in midfield, right? And I said, let's throw in João Felix along with Cole Palmer with Nicholas Jackson up front. I see the lineup. I see Nkunku. As soon as I see Nkunku, it always reminds me of what you keep saying, Ryan. This guy, just give him popcorn as well. Give him a bag of popcorn by the time... There you go, yeah. Give him a bag of popcorn whilst he starts. Then I see Desassi as well in right back. And I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. It is what it is. Then the first half finishes. And I'm like, no way, Maresca, you can go second half with the same team. No way. You looked at the team. You looked at what everyone did. There is no way you can do the same thing. And this brother has sent the same player almost to say, it's okay. What you've done is fine. Go and repeat and we will win. within the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it was, 2-0. And then he takes off João Felix. Then he brings on all this. For me, no, not good enough. So these are my criticisms.
Let me ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
From what Maresca has shown you from August till before Everton, do you trust his eye to see an issue and solve the issue?
Very good question, bro. Very
If I
good
speak,
question.
if I speak, I'm in trouble
We're in
because
trouble.
2 days ago it came out that Chelsea does not have much plans to buy players in January. So 2 days ago it came out to us. I just wonder how much days before that or how much when it came out to Maresca that everybody is talking about Chelsea, the media talking about title push, this and that. I think we reach a place in our fan base where Maresca is solving problem after problem, getting result after result. And us Chelsea fans are thinking about key areas that we need to improve to push and stay at that third or second place in that top four. Right? What if Maresca, a lot of people say Maresca is a yes man and this and that. But what if Maresca is kind of pulling back the bow to launch that arrow and saying that I do not trust these players that I have available to me? And what if Enzo Maresca has chosen to play hardball here?
I thought about this, and this could be a possibility.
Enzo Maresca has a track record with us for months, where each game, whatever problem we saw in our post-match, he fixed it next match. It's like he was watching all our videos. It's like he was like the only manager that could gauge something was wrong and fix it next game, or fix it second half. Enzo Maresca is known to fix things second half. We were always thinking, what is he saying to the team in halftime?
Yeah, that it all fixed up in the second half. Yeah.
So why out of nowhere against Fulham and against Ipswich, two teams that we should be putting away, that he couldn't fix it? If the problems is so there, I think he's playing hardball and he's trying.
You think he's sending a message? You're saying that he's sending a message?
Yep, and he sent a message to the board and he sent a message to us because we wanted Nkunku today. We wanted certain players to play. Have them play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's about, Arteta, he shouldn't probably be the standard because he hasn't won anything. But let's not make a joke about it. He's gotten Arsenal to a place where they're a respectable team, right?
Yeah,
and to do that, he had to take out a lot of players. Even City with Pep, they had to take out a lot of players. People like Joe Hart and plenty star players that were there. They had to take out to fit Pep's system, right? The thing is, has Enzo Maresca earned the trust of the board to say that we're going to sell the players that you don't want and get the players you need? Because it seems as though, for whatever reason behind the scenes, I think that he has not earned that trust yet.
I agree.
And I think Chelsea's probably going down that route of doing what they want and hoping Maresca could make magic out of it. But
do you know what? Let me just quickly interject, and I'm going to allow you to continue and just hold that thought. Don't forget what you're about to say, right? I agree with you. I said this recently off air. I was talking to someone, one of my viewers. I think I might have been even talking to Haj or Ashraf. I said, maybe this is Enzo Maresca trying to send a message, not utilizing João Felix off the bench, keeping him unused, utilizing Nkunku as a striker, even though publicly stating he's not a striker, but then showing all of us, look, I'm going to deploy him as a striker. I'm with you, Ryan. I think he's sending a message, but I'm also with you on the sense that I don't think he's got the credit in the bank with the directors yet.
I think he's got the credit bank with us, but not the directors. Yeah, but
yes,
I could understand why not. Because you always look at Klopp and Pep, but let's be honest here. Arsenal, I don't respect their board, man. They were doing nonsense for the longest time, and I think they really got lucky with Arteta, right? They
Yeah,
got
yeah,
lucky. So I'm
100%.
not gonna look at Arsenal and be like, oh, they're like the best, right? But Liverpool and Man City had proven winners come. Klopp
Correct,
and
correct.
they took that route. Look, we could probably say Manchester United took that route of trust in the manager. Now they have a bunch of expensive waste of talents
Yeah.
under Ten Hag. A bunch of money Ten Hag spent on players that they need to sell now.
Mm.
Players who they bought for over 50 million, spent hundreds of millions on these
And
players.
wages as well, off the
And
roof.
wait, and our board is probably watching that and thinking we don't want to end up in a situation like that. We have our
Yeah.
scouts and we're gonna go with it. I think that Maresca has earned a bit of trust, but it makes me think, is it just too soon? It's only been from August to December, if we actually think about it. I'm just thinking what's going on in the background between Enzo and the board, because it's so odd for this to happen and the timing it's happening to, right before January 1st.
Do you know what? You're spot on. It's so odd that it's happening right now because
Now,
prior to that, as you said, we have seen moments where Enzo Maresca has found the solution. He has found the solution at halftime. We've come out and we looked better. He made a tweak here or he made a tweak there. There's also been instances where I feel like he hasn't made those tweaks, but whatever he said worked in the second half. Not really tactically, but maybe from a motivational standpoint as well. I agree with you that maybe the directors, and I think there's a quote that's floating around. For example, João Felix. Enzo Maresca apparently never even asked for João Felix. He never
yeah,
desired
I
for
saw
him.
that. Yeah.
And the directors simply said, please. They literally put their hands together, like, please, just take him and
That was me. That was
yeah.
me. When I heard the rumors, I was like, please, just get him.
Directors are like, please,
I was
Maresca,
buzzing.
Maresca, please do something. Do something with
Yeah.
this player. Do something. I think you're right. I think the board of directors and the owners are still operating in their own accord, in their own ways. But Ryan, this is not gonna end up good, bro. Like if this continues in this window
No.
with the matches that are coming up,
And
if Enzo Maresca is gonna be stubborn with the way he is, and he's not gonna like you've got Mark Yu, but you don't want to utilize him as a striker. You want to utilize Nkunku as a striker. You're clearly sending a message. I need a striker. But if the
this
board's
too.
saying that I'm not going to give you a striker now, then what?
No, and this too. You saw we recall that defender from Boca
Anselmino, yeah,
Juniors.
yeah, 19-year-old young kid, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, that goes to show, because it seems from like Fabrizio, he's going to join training and join our team, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like to
But
go
there
to
are
learn
rumors that
some.
he could potentially go to Strasbourg as well. Apparently, there's rumors about that.
I'm just thinking with, I mean, he's a right-sided center back. We're missing a right-sided center back. I'm just thinking the solutions that this board is trying to find. I could honestly probably think that they're probably not looking to get players in January.
They're not. They're not.
And you know what I don't like, Miss, is that I think we meet a crossroads here with Enzo on this board. Because I don't think Enzo is going to be a yes man. I think it could go two ways, and I believe Enzo is going to be a top manager, and I hope he's with us because I think we're lucky to have him. He's a really good tactician, man manager,
Yeah.
and he's young, willing to learn. Man, what a job he's done since he's come, right? I
Big job,
think
yeah.
we're at a crossroads now where is this board going to trust Maresca so that he could put his stamp on this team? Because you know what I don't like? It seems as though, remember I told you that we have apparent issues in our team. We need a striker, a center back, maybe a fullback, right? Or on the left, for sure
Yeah.
with Kukurea only being our only left-footed,
Left back,
center.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think we always thought that, okay, put these pieces of the puzzle and we could compete, we could do something, right? But the way it seems now is that we can't even reach to that point anymore, because there's pieces of the puzzle that the board thought they got for this team, where Maresca is saying, listen, these pieces don't fix. We're not going to go to these pieces yet because these pieces here don't fit yet. So now we're looking, we have to replace Modric. Well, that's for a whole different reason. But even if
he's
that didn't,
gone.
but even if that didn't happen to him, we would have to sell him because he wasn't
Yeah.
going to make it.
Yeah.
Right? Felix, I still think he's a good player. I think he was our better attacker today. I think everything was going through him, all the chances, but Maresca does not seem to believe that he fits his profile of attacker. We're seeing that Nkunku and Gu, whoever his name is, Gu, yeah, doesn't fit it. So a lot of people is not fitting Maresca's style right now. And those are a lot of pieces of the puzzle that the board thought that they have set in place. So now, instead of us fixing the missing pieces of this puzzle, we have to go and rip out pieces that don't fit well. And it's like we need to start from scratch again. And it feels like this board is putting off the inevitable of starting from scratch again. I think they made so much mistakes. They're always trying to cover the mistakes, cover the mistakes, cover the mistakes. And I think we reach at a crossroads that I wouldn't pull out pieces of this puzzle for Potter. I wouldn't pull out pieces of this puzzle for Poch or Lampard. But boy, I would pull out pieces of this puzzle for Enzo Maresca. I love Felix. I would sell Felix if we had to. I would sell Nkunku. I would give this manager the keys. But is this that board would ever do that?
Bro, once again, I have to agree with you that I would give the pieces that is required for this manager to do well. He's shown enough that, one, he can be tactically flexible depending on who the opposition is. Two, he's also shown that he's developed players into better players. Now, every manager has their own ways, has their own philosophy, and they don't want to deviate away from that too often. Yeah, they may evolve, but that takes time. Evolution takes time. And I think Maresca said when we were talking about Palmer and João Felix needs to play together, he said, patience. We're working on it. It will happen sometime. However, I think the directors and the owners, they also have a different remit, Ryan. Yeah, the remit is win, of course. Get to Champions League, compete for the title. But I just got you João Felix. Don't tell me to get rid of him now. Like, financially, this is a problem for me. Nkunku just recovered. Yeah, Nkunku just recovered. We're paid good money. He's on good wages. Don't tell me to just get rid of him now. It's very difficult to find solutions for these type of players. Right? It's easier to get rid of academy players because we didn't buy them. They're pure profit if you're not using them. João Felix and Nkunku, honestly, Ryan, I would move them on for Maresca because I feel like this guy, he will not change his mindset. He will not change his philosophy. He will not say, okay, directors, no problems. Let me work with them. Let me try and work with them. The way he wants to play, these brothers don't fit in. So there's a clash here now. There's a clash. We have directors who are asking Maresca, please, we'll put our two hands together. Please do something with these players. And we have a manager that is saying, I can't, because you're literally wanting me to be someone different. You might as well should have hired someone else then. So the only solution I see, I don't know if you saw this rumor, Kolo Muani was a rumor 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a huge fan of Kolo Muani. Don't get me wrong. But Kolo Muani is a striker. Right now, this team, needs a striker that can compete with Jackson. And I'm not asking Colomani to be a full-time striker here. I'm saying find a solution. Maybe a loan. Nkunku doesn't fit, send Nkunku to PSG on a loan and get Moani on a loan. So that's one player that you've sorted from the squad that you cannot utilize properly. You've told him to F off to PSG, and you got someone that PSG doesn't rate at the moment, and you brought him because they may have some impact here. You need to do something with João Felix as well, similarly. So
I think
that's how I see it.
I think if I believe this is what is happening with Maresca right now, because it's just too coincidental that he would solve all these problems, make all these changes, this and that,
True.
be so good at halftime. And then, it broke news that we're not going to make any movements really in January. And for the past 3 games leading into January, he's not making those substitutions. He's not making those tactical changes. He's this and that. I think the solution is somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. Because I don't think Maresca got this job. I think the board knew what kind of character they was looking for, that they would have to buy into what the company is trying to do. At the end of the day, it's a business, it's a company, right? When you're working, you don't come and tell the CEO who to fire and who to buy and who to hire, right? You come in and you have these tools, and you know what tools you have when you get hired, and you say you're going to make the best out of it. And then after you earn the trust of people in the company, then you could start bringing some tools of your own.
Start putting your weight. You can start putting your weight.
Yeah, and bringing in things to specialize your output and your job, right? I think with Maresca now, he needs to be careful here if he's doing these things, and I think he is doing these things. So maybe the reasoning that I'm thinking might be off because it's just an assumption, but whether or not, what is the reasoning behind it? Objectively, he is doing these things. He's not fixing things at halftime. He's not fixing things tactically. He's not making changes enough. He's not using some players, right? In those 3 games. We need to be careful how this is rubbing off, not on the B team players or whatever, but on players who start week in, week out. Because what I noticed in these past 3 games, not maybe Everton, but these past 2 games, is that forget tactics, forget injuries, forget this and that. These 18 players only play once a week for the past 3 months. Why is another team running faster than us? Why are they running more than us? Forget about 1v1 tactics, inverted crosses, this and that. Why is some players not switched on when they receive the ball? You know what I mean?
Bro, I'll give you a good example. Cole Palmer is one that's dropping a bit of a stinker in the last couple of games. Even though he scored a really good goal against Fulham.
It's been like 7 games. He hasn't really put in a huge shift. He is so talented that he could change the game and score a great goal out of nowhere. But he hasn't actually played a solid 9 out of 10 game. That's true. 8 games. Actually, in our best run, we've actually not done that much. It was other people pulling weight from different sides.
I would say Enzo Fernandez. I'd say Enzo Fernandez is probably one of the key ones. Cucurella.
Cucurella. Then Pedro Neto for a couple of games. And Sancho for a couple of the games. It seems like our attackers are so young, they can't do it for long periods of time. It's like for a burst of 2 games, Pedro Neto, we would say, this guy is worth everything, man. Then Sancho, we would say, this is the Sancho that we want to see. Then he disappears. Then Cole Palmer would pop out. This is one of the best young talents in the world. Disappears.
The inconsistency is mad. You're right. Pedro Neto as well. He's disappeared.
Yeah. I could understand drops in technical ability maybe sometimes. You have those days where the ball just bounces off your shin or isn't working. You're scuffing shots. You're losing the ball. But I felt that from minute 1 today, I just looked at us and looked at Ipswich and I say, we're going to lose this game. That's why I watched my dad and we both said,
just tell.
Because
the energy was so much more.
We looked so lethargic. It's like we were playing in slow motion. You know what I mean? And that shows me something mentally in the players. Because it's one thing for one player to drop a stinker or looking lethargic and not pressing. But why is it as a unit our team isn't looking it?
Now, this is the segue. Remember what I said? I just parked all of these issues on the side. Remember, before we started talking about Maresca, I had all of these other issues that I just
Yeah.
parked. It's now time to bring those parked issues into this conversation, because this, what you just said, why do the players all of a sudden look like something is mentally wrong with them?
As a
And
unit.
this is as a unit. And this is why, Ryan, I said, don't disregard all of these other noise from the sides, because they matter. People say to me, Miz, nah, man, these are footballers. Just go out there and play football. But they're human beings as well. They're human beings. Like, negative news will have an impact. What are the negative news? Modric's doping issue. Look, maybe none of the players are best friends with Mudryk. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't even share a single conversation with him. Maybe they don't even hang around with him. But it is a negative news that is circulating around, that is causing a lot of commotion in the media, which players see in the social media. Maybe they go, whatever. But in the back of their head, they know, okay, well, one of our players is caught up in this issue. That's number one. Madueke dropped last game against Fulham. For why? Coming late to the meeting. Apparently not doing well at training. Now, Cole Palmer might go, well, that's Madueke's problem. That's not me. I should still be Cole Palmer. Kukura might go, yeah, that's Madueke's problem. I should still. No, but at the back of their head, they're going, subconsciously, they're thinking, why is my teammate acting like that? Why is he like that? Right? So you got Mudryk, you got Madueke, João Felix, a new sub. You think João Felix is happy? You think João Felix, when he comes to Cobham training ground, he's like, yeah, come on now. The guy's not getting played. I wouldn't be happy if I'm not getting played. So you think his teammates don't know that he's not happy? So that's another issue. Nkunku, he's second fiddle to Jackson. Nkunku, French international. You think he's not feeling a little bit disgruntled? All of these things, maybe as an isolated incident, you as a fan might not think too much about. You as a fan might say, I shouldn't really mean too much to the players. They should be professional too. No, when you combine all of these things together, on top of Desasi, who's not really in favor, on top of Ben Chilwell, who needs to leave, on top of Kaini Chukwuemeka, who doesn't get any game time, on top of Keenan Dewsbury Hall, who's probably thinking, why the F did Chelsea even buy me? All of these things, as a unit, they might come into training ground and smile at your face. It's all good, man. Yeah, let's train. Yeah, let's train. At the back of their head, they're thinking, no, I'm not about Chelsea Football Club. I'm about me. I'm about looking after me. And all of that is, I feel, culminating to what Ryan just said, might have something to do with players all of a sudden switching off. Now, Ryan, am I talking out of my ass here, or do you think there is some validity here?
There's absolutely, you're talking out of your ass, bro. No, I'm joking. Yo, no.
I had my
I think
iced tea all over the screen.
no, bro, but I think you're definitely right, man. We could think about the context behind it, but don't really know how it would affect these players. But the truth of the matter is that it would affect them, especially being, the age that they are. Most of them really close friends, or if they're not close friends, they share agents with each other, this and that.
And they're young. They're young as well. Like they're
young.
They're immature.
And especially players like Nkunku, he's probably saying, well, I'm not going to tear my hamstring now for these guys. I'm going to come in, try to get to January, and then find somewhere. Yeah, see if I get a move. I think a lot of players, it's a weird one because it felt as if we were at the peak
Mm.
of where we felt as if we never entered there with these players yet. That I just wanted the players to taste a bit of blood and like how it tastes against Tottenham. I think
Mm.
that was like a big win where I really wanted for our
Huge
players.
win.
And
Huge
then
win.
after it was, you know, I think it was Spurs and Villa back to back. And then it had some big ones with Brentford and this and that. Our players, we can't say that they looked like they were disgruntled and down. It's really within the last 2 weeks that things start to go down. And I guess when the results are bad, the magnifying glass and the spotlight starts to come out on the issues.
Mm.
And when the results are good, the issues seem like just cracks on the wall we could cover, right? But the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is that these issues have been there for a long time. The A team and B team, people not getting a chance in the Premier League. You can imagine that you buy a player, you have players like Nkunku and João Felix, and they're not getting any minutes in the Premier League, even when we're losing.
That's bad.
That is crazy. I
That's
remember
bad.
sometimes Mourinho used to bring on Dembaba, Torres, and Eto'o at the same time, just to try to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
You used to have, I think, the weird thing about Maresca and why I do feel it's a message also is because it's the first time that I saw a manager has maybe three-quarter of his bench he doesn't play
Yeah. He
in
doesn't.
general in the Premier League.
Yep.
Like watch that bench, not today because most of our starters was on the bench, but look
Yep.
at the game before against Fulham. Watch our
Bro, one
bench,
sub.
and yeah, and I'm talking about not people who could come out and change the game. I'm just talking regular people to play Premier League football.
Mm.
It's like we have a bench of non. Your bench supposed to be people that could come and help you win a game.
100.
Our bench is
100.
people who don't even play Premier League football, and that's the alarming thing. I think for Maresca, his challenge is going to be, Miz, how is he going to get his players to buy in mentally in what he is trying to do? Because I believe that if Maresca could get top four Champions League football into summer, I
Yeah.
believe there will be a middle ground that will be met between board and manager. I
Yeah.
believe that the board will get to keep one or two of the players that they really scouted from 2 years before Maresca came in, because this project started before Maresca. You can't just finish off, like just clear your whole project. It's millions of dollars. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars,
Mm.
especially for someone who has not won anything with your team yet, right? But if you
Yeah.
could show that you got us into the Champions League and you say you need X, Y, and Z in the Champions League, I think he will give it to Maresca. And let's be
Yeah.
honest here, this team tried to get Osimhen on the last day. It's not like they didn't want a top striker. So we
Mm.
could
Mm.
always
Mm.
say that Chelsea wants a young striker to back up Jackson, this and that. Until the last hour of that transfer window in the summer, we wanted one of the best strikers in the league,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that if he could get to the summer, there will be a middle ground where he might have to keep one or two of, like João Felix. I don't think you're going to get rid of him easily. I think he's cost 40, 50 million. He's on an 8-year contract. I mean, you have to try to, and then he came in when you were here.
Mm.
So that's something you might have to make work, but maybe Nkunku could go. And maybe in the summer, you could get one or two or three of your players that you need. But on what I want to bring up there is that until the summer, Enzo
Mm.
Maresca has to make sure he doesn't, one, lose his own head, two, lose too much games, and three, lose the dressing room, and four, lose the board.
Then it's
So
gone.
so that's the order of it. You lose your head on games, you lose the players, you lose the board. And the thing is, we already see that Enzo Maresca is losing games. We're starting to question if he's losing his head a little bit because
Mm.
of the way he's making substitutes, and just like
Starting lineups.
how uncharacteristically it is for a manager to have a draw and a loss, pick up 1 point in five, and then play half of your B team in a must-win game.
Mm.
So if you play in Champions League football, what's going to happen? We're going to just bring in 4 people with non-starters next week in the Premier League, because
and get
we're going to have to. Our big players are going to have to play. This is the
on a
first period in
regular.
4 months. This is the first period in 4 months where our players probably have a window where they have to play every 4 days.
Yeah,
But why can't they do
especially
it for 10 days?
back-to-back Premier League. Like they've had games where
Yeah,
they've had to play within the next 3 days, but it was one Conference League and one Premier League game. This is the
yeah.
first time where it was
Where
back-to-back
18
Premier League
players,
games.
yeah.
Yeah,
Where like starting 11 players had to do it.
Do
So
you
it's
find that strange as
uncharacteristic.
well? Yeah, I was going to say, like, Ryan, do you find that strange? Like, you look at Liverpool, bro, Salah, Diaz, these brothers,
Yo,
Trent, like they're
I tell
playing.
you,
They're playing.
he's trying to send a message, miss. It's uncharacteristic that you would have a bench and you only pull in 1 or 2 players from that bench, even when you're losing. You never give them Premier League minutes. And then all of a sudden, when the pressure was on for you to play these players, you just randomly put all of them in on a must-win game coming off the bounce of losing 4 to 5 points. That's uncharacteristic of Enzo Maresca or any
That's a
manager
very
with
big point.
sense.
You think Arne Slot's doing that? You think Slot would have benched Salah in this game?
He's sending a message before January. And
This
I
is what I
don't know
think.
if it's the right thing to do, but Enzo Maresca is someone who is like he will go what he feels is right. He's not a yes man. I don't think so.
Nah, he's not. He's not. So far in the press conferences, he's shown he's not a yes man. He's been so brutal about so many things. This is why I said I agree with you, and I've said about the same thing, that I think he's trying to send a message. I really do think. A lot of people say, why doesn't João Felix start? Why doesn't Nkunku start? I'm like, I think he's trying to send a message. I think he's trying to say that I don't want them, right? I want to go back to another point that you made, which I think has a lot of validity as well. You mentioned that just when January 1st is around the corner and the dip in form starts to happen, you've also mentioned Nkunku, window's just about to open. Do I really want to tear my hamstring for this team anymore, or do I give myself an opportunity to find another home in this window? Ryan, I think there could be an element of that. There could be an element of that. This is a period where Everton, Fulham, and Ipswich happened literally in the last 10 days. Yeah? These players, they talk. It's only 10 days away. The window opens. I don't want to get myself injured now, and then I'm screwed. Prior to the window, in the month of October, November, early parts of December, now the whole team's united. Everyone's united. Everyone's playing for each other. Now we're good. Everyone's talking the good stuff. Now that the window is just around the corner, some players that are on the fringe or B team players, all of a sudden, the team's not together anymore for some reason. I think there might be some validity there, Ryan, that this period that's coming up for us, we got Palace, we got Wolves, and I think City after that, something like that. I'm concerned, bro. I'm concerned because this is a period where is the headspace going to be in the right place? Is your headspace in the game, or is your headspace trying to get a move out? Now, a lot of fans might look at this particular video and go, but Miz, most of the A team, they're fine though. What are they worried about? No, it doesn't work that way. They're all teammates. At the end of the day, they're all teammates.
If you're working for a company and then you have people that you're close with in that company, you see them working hard, or you see that they came here looking for good opportunities and that they're not getting them and that they're thinking about moving on, it's like it will affect any human being. I don't know why people think
100%.
football is different from real life. At the end of the day, it's your workplace, it's a job. You have your boss, you have co-workers. You go in and you're affected by the people. Actually, football is more important because the players you meet in football become so close, like best friends. Whereas in your real life job, problem wouldn't be like that most of the times. So, Miss, I think what we need to, I don't know if I agree with the way that Maresca is going about it.
Mm.
Because it isn't, well, we're just assuming here, but I can't get to terms that Enzo Maresca is suddenly dumb and
No, he's not. He's not.
he suddenly can't solve problems and he's suddenly clueless manager. I just think that Enzo Maresca decided to play hardball with this board.
I agree with that. I agree.
And
But
I,
as you said, this might backfire though. Like hard ball might not bring the results though.
no. And I think it's a weird one, Miss, because why would this? I think it it hit the fan, should hit the fan in that Everton game, or after that Everton game, after Cucurella was out.
Mm.
I think when he really looked at his options, Fofana is out, Reece James out, Cucurella is out. You know, this one is just Pedro Neto was out. When he started to look at these things, he started to think, well, who do I have that I could trust to ensure that these results stay the same?
Yeah.
And let's not kid ourselves here. You could say how much that we're not in a title race, you're not in a title race. But I sure everybody in Chelsea and Maresca and all his coach members wish that we were still in second place, 3 points behind Liverpool
100%.
today.
100%.
And I'm sure that they were dreaming of that. And I'm sure
100%
that there were probably talks about how could we maintain these results in January. And I think that the conversation got more serious when you look at how much injuries we have. Because let's be honest, Lavia isn't going to play more than 3 games in a row. I've given up on him. I think he's one of the best talents when he's fit, but he's fit a little bit. So
I want to talk about this. You mentioned about Lavia very early on in the podcast. This is a problem for us. It's not a coincidence that as soon as Lavia's absence, tactically, we are not being able to utilize our entire squad properly. Now, I'm not pinning everything on Lavia here. I'm just saying that
it's a
having
domino
him,
effect.
it's a domino effect. It's a domino effect. Exactly. It's a domino
Let me tell you tactical domino. Let me get all tactical here, right?
Go for it, bro.
So, when we have Lavia, he defends the centre backs, where our fullback could join him. Right?
Yes.
When our fullback joins him, Enzo Fernandez gets a free role where he joins Cole Palmer and those guys. When he joins Cole Palmer and those guys get more freedom to make runs in behind, to go into the spaces and that. With this fullback getting into there, now we have our other players like Cucurella and this and that getting into those half spaces more, not having to always overlap but could cut in. Well, we hardly saw Cucurella take up those attacking positions in number 10 and number 8 in the past 2 matches. He was only playing overlap. Right? So it's just a whole domino effect where everybody's performances is getting affected because we don't have someone there to be that CDM who could allow that fullback to come. And especially with the center backs we have now, we just don't have center backs that can make it work. Tosin is just as bad as Disasi, who is just as bad as Benoit.
What did I tell you, bro? You were telling me about Tosin. What did I tell you about Tosin?
Who is nearly as bad as Colwill. But I would say this. Colwill, we could talk about his defense and this and that. But let me tell you something about his defense. Not only that they're horrible defensively, and I wanted to dive into this. I know I'm on a tangent here, but we have to dive into these guys.
Dive into it, bro. Dive into it.
54 minutes, I didn't get to dive into these guys yet. So it's time, right? But these defenders, not that they only can't defend. Tosin is embarrassment to defending. I don't just run in slow motion.
Say sorry to me first. Because you were backing your man Tosin. You have to say sorry to me.
I was backing Tosin Abadorori. That's somebody completely different. That was the guy. That was the Tossin Abdur from the title race versus Brentford, right? That was a different guy, right? But yo, Desasi, I had no hope or faith for him since last
Nah,
season. Benoit,
gone,
same
gone,
thing.
gone,
But
gone.
you know what's the most important thing to realize here is that not only in defense they are shambles because the type of chances these guys had today is primary school things. Like they didn't even play good.
Bro, Liam Delap bullied them.
No, but they didn't even play. Leander didn't
They didn't
even
even play
dribble
good.
good.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
even do nothing to
They
pass
didn't do
him.
nothing. Yeah.
He didn't do anything to pass Desasi. He just hit the ball there. This is a weird thing. He didn't do anything. He just gone. He just
Man said that he couldn't perform his basic duties.
and I think the guy just had to hit it side foot and just go so. Past them. Goal. And but one thing is that Fulham came against us, pressed us. Ipswich pressed us, right?
Yep.
Yo, when we had Fofana and Colwell, because Colwell is playing this weird position now because of Tossin. So Tossin
Yep.
is the one in the middle, and then we're getting Desasi in these weird positions too, right there. And Colwell is so wide that he can't affect the game. But many of the times, right, when teams press us, it was Colwell from that center position that used to pin those balls through to Cole Palmer and to Kukurea, and that used to make our attacks. Then all of a sudden Jackson could come and link play, and then the whole thing goes forward. But that whole part of our game has gone since Tossin has come at centre back.
And do you remember, even when Fofana was injured, guess who Maresca was utilizing at that moment? I don't rate this guy either, but he was somewhat sort of similar characteristic to Fofana. Is Benoit. It was Benoit. And then it was still Levi Colwell in the middle, Benoit in those wide, weird left areas, but Levi Colwell in the middle. And Benoit was doing what Fofana did on the right. He was doing it on the left. He was aggressive. Now there's no Benoit either. Now there's a.
You don't know what you have until it's gone. The legend
You don't
Benoit.
know what. Yeah, look, no. Less of that.
Justice for Benoit. Benoit Badia Shield. Justice. I know it has that one guy in a live chat who always loves Benoit for some reason.
Oh, bro, this guy, bro. He goes to me. Give him a chance, Miz. Give him a chance. He's gonna be a number one. He's gonna be a number one.
He thinks it's a raffle. He thinks it's a raffle.
Now that Tossin's in, and Tossin can only play in the middle, he can't play in the wide areas. It's now taken away Levi Colwell's strength. Now Levi Colwell has to play in the wide areas, and he's not in his best positions
and
either.
Maybe
this is going back to
track back in wide areas. Yeah, because to get beat in wide areas and come back here is too much for Colwell. But if Colwell gets beat here, he could go here and get back the ball still.
Bro, do you remember Fulham's second goal? Colwell's jogging.
Yeah.
Colwell's not tracking back. He's jogging. Yeah. And then Tossin has to go into wide areas. And he doesn't know what he's doing in the wide areas. And then the cross comes in for Munez. And we don't have any defenders because even Malagusto's jogging. Enzo Fernandez
is the last worst defense Chelsea has had in a decade.
Worst.
Well, the decade before was better, so in 2 decades.
Yeah. This is why, Ryan, I'm scared. I'm scared against the next few oppositions because Wesley Fofana, I don't know when he's going to be back.
You don't even have any news on him.
No news.
Reece James come back before not Benoit, before Fofana.
Fofana, that's mad. But who cares about Reece James, bro? Like, this guy's going to be here today. He's not going to be here tomorrow. It's like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even really count him. Like, I'll cherish the moment every minute he plays, but I don't really count him because I don't know when he's like touch wood. This is it. He never gets injured ever again. But
yeah,
he gets injured in off days. We don't even have
everybody's recovering. When everybody's recovering, doesn't get injured in games.
Don't worry about it. My man's getting injured in recovery sessions.
No recovery sessions for you.
Don't worry about Reece James, bro. I'm not worried about Reece James. But this Tossin, Levi Colwell, and Desas, this is what I'm saying. At least we can look after one area. F off Desasi. F him off. Achapong, bro. Start utilizing young, hungry Achapong. Use him as an RCB. Bring back Liva Kowal in the middle. Utilize Achapong as an RCB.
Especially in a match like this, man. Ipswich. Come on, man. It
was a good game for him.
If not Fulham and not Crystal Palace, Ipswich.
Ipswich, bro. Achapong RCB. Liva Kowal in the middle. Maybe put Kukure as LCB. Do you know what I mean? Or I don't know, whoever, right? But it makes sense to put Kukure as LCB and play Malo Gusto as well. Play Malo Gusto. Play Achapong as an RCB in a back three. There are things that Enzo Maresca can do, but maybe he's trying to send a message, but the message is not looking good for us as a fan base. Right. Look, we've talked a little bit about defense. I don't think we can end this show without talking about what's happening up front as well, and I don't think we should shy away from this one bit. I need to lay the marker. Noni Madueke. I'm not doing this back and forth. He's got good skill set, but I've called him Noni mediocre. It's not Noni Madueke, it's Noni mediocre. This guy, for me, Ryan, I'm sorry. We've talked about João Felix. We've talked about Nkunku. Noni Madueke, not only sometimes, I don't know where he gets this attitude of coming to training meetings late, having lackluster training. Where you get this? Where is this attitude coming from? Who do you think you are? But for me, this guy, wake up, bro. Wake up. He didn't have a good game.
He
didn't have a good game against Ipswich. Bro, it was an embarrassing game.
How much English players we see like that, bro? How much English players we've seen? They'll come, they'll go, just like Rashford, all these guys. They'll come, they'll go. And that's why I don't want that kind of mentality to rub off on our young players too. No, so I could understand why we have to be so cutthroat. I think Madueke, for me, he was supposed to be gone in the summer. I don't think this board rates him either. I think this board would rather to get him off too. I think that Madueke just out of all to get Pedro Neto up to speed, we're just kind of using Madueke there for a defensive point of view. But man, up front, it's crazy how everybody just look a ghost of themselves too. Like Jackson. Jackson does not look. No, that Newcastle.
What happened to him, bro? What happened to Jackson, bro?
No, but the thing is, that Newcastle game, sometimes you need to think, why is some players just not taking initiative? Because it wasn't tactics. Nobody told Jackson that Newcastle game to drop down and then turn on your player and then link play and then run. That's not tactics. That's initiative. Same thing with Sancho. Why versus Tottenham, he was taking on every single player. Nothing with tactics there. He was taking on, cutting and shooting. Why now he's not doing that? Some things are just not tactics. Cole Palmer, for so much games, he was being that guy running in, trying to create something. Now, it seems as if he doesn't want to get those tackles anymore. He doesn't want to get those mileage on his... It seems like he's not taking that responsibility to run in there and get a foul. You know what I mean? He does it a couple times a game, and he does it successfully too. But why isn't he doing it more often? And some of those things isn't tactics, because we have our back three, we have our Enzo and Caicedo. We have those guys in position there. It's just like so much of our players are just not taking initiative. It's a weird one.
No, you're right, bro. You're right. I mean, Nicholas Jackson, he goes from scoring a really good goal against Brentford just a few match days ago. And even in that match, he was missing quite a lot of easy ones. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, man, like his just body language looks a bit off as well. Like, where's the hunger? Like, he still works hard and everything. He still works hard, but where's the hunger?
But you saw Dilap play as such a good half. You're supposed to come in and say, you know what, you want to buy this guy? Nah, I'll show you why you shouldn't buy this guy.
Such a good point, bro.
Instead, he showed us why we should buy him.
Well, should he showed us, but please buy him. Don't believe in me. Bye.
Even that offside one he missed.
Do you know what? I said it on live stream when I was doing the watch on. I said, fair enough, that was offside. But he didn't know he was offside. And he missed. He missed a 1v1. He didn't even hit the target. He didn't hit the goalkeeper. He missed. But if that was onside, then what? If that was onside, then what?
Miss, it's simple, bro. We have a striker. What skill set should a striker have? The most basic striker, like not scoring, but what
shooting?
Okay, okay. Now we have Chelsea FC, one of the best clubs in the entire world of football and sport. We have our starting striker. That one, the first skill, number one skill, is our striker. Could he shoot good shots? What the hell is that? Imagine if I am an engineer. We have a tech company for the Apple, and we're gonna get a senior engineer in, and I hired someone from accounting. I have a guy who did not have a software engineer degree. This guy brother have a diploma in accounting.
Asking you to do
in Apple, not in like a regular tech, in the biggest tech company in the world. Now, think about our defenders, and I'm gonna call them out here, right? Levi Colwill, right? Yeah. He's a center back, Chelsea. You know, everybody says this is going to be one of the best center backs. And
I say,
give me one defensive attribute of Levi Colwill that is above a 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10.
Aerially, he's not dominant.
Slide tackle,
not dominant.
Standing tackle,
not dominant.
You can't even press square on FIFA.
No. Passing, you can say passing. No good passes.
Come on, defensive ability.
But defense is not defense.
You hire an accountant for engineer too. It's like one engineering quality. He did accounting.
He did accounting.
So you fall for it too.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the problem in football. What we have in our team. You know?
You're right, bro. You're right. And I've been saying I've been a massive advocate of Levi Colwill. I said that this guy's going to be the leader for us in defense. But bro, what leadership quality did this guy show us, bro? Leadership isn't about squaring up
most. He moans the most. It's like those kind of moans that it's just like this guy, like a high school guy, you know, when he gets in trouble from his teacher and he's just answering back people. It's not even like a kind of arrogance of a leader who is.
Yeah.
Sometimes a leader is supposed to make sure that everybody else is in check, but it seems like everybody has to make sure Colwill is in check.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right,
I don't know where we get this idea that he's a leader.
Look, maybe people say he's a leader, you know, in the dressing room. Nah, bro. Look at the way.
When he's dressing. Good, that's the only.
Look, I know he's also another one of those young players, but I just want to give a quick example. And I know this example is probably not fair, but I'm just utilizing it as a barometer as to where Levi Colwill needs to be. You look at defenders like, for example, Saliba or Virgil van Dijk. When was the last time you saw these guys in a scuffle, like collar to collar, holding, pushing? Bro, Virgil van Dijk or Saliba, whenever they get in a bit of a scuffle, you know what they do? They literally just grab the opposition player's head and just go, just move away from me, man. Like, seriously, you're nothing. It's that arrogance. It's almost like they're saying to that striker or their opposition, no, nothing. You are nothing.
It's like they cheeky with it. Like, I know Ramos and those guys just elbow somebody randomly, but it wouldn't get under their skin. It's like, when a striker gets under his skin, he's gonna make a mistake soon.
Correct. Correct.
He's gonna
Levi
come out of
Colwell,
position.
every time he's squaring up on players, he wants to fight. Bro, that's not
Fight on
leadership.
fight to win the match.
Yeah, like this is not MMA. Show leadership in a different manner. Just because you square up on players, that shows me zero leadership. You
Yes,
gotta have
I'll
that
say this.
arrogance in a different way.
I don't know how people could say that Levi Colwell could possibly be a leader for Chelsea and be one of the best defenders in the world, because the standard has just dropped so much, man.
Yeah.
I remember that we had Cahill, Luis, those guys, and people don't even recognize those guys as as legends, right?
Yeah. And they
Like
were
when you talk
top
about the game,
quality
but
defenders.
they
You know what I mean?
were top quality defenders. We had Terry, Luis, Cahill, those guys.
Carvalho.
Yeah, I remember we had a youngster called Nathan Ake. Every preseason match and every time he came in as a sub, he played at 8 or 9 out of 10 appearance, whether it's for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I think that those defensive performances Ake showed was better than anything Colwell showed for
I agree
Chelsea.
with you, bro. I agree with you.
But back
Absolutely agree
then,
with you.
they knew he was a good player, but he couldn't make it at Chelsea because he wasn't a great player. But he's good, and we will have to sell him,
Yeah.
right? Because he's good and he can make it somewhere. Now he played for City, won all the trophies it has to win. For Colwell, it's the same thing. If we had great defenders, I'm not talking about all-time greats and legends. I'm just talking about very good defenders. If we had very good defenders, this guy would be nowhere close to. We'd have to loan him out or sell him. And
Bro,
this is the guy people are prompting as a leader.
it's such a good point that you said. What defensive quality that is more than 7 out of 10 for Levi Colwell? There's literally none.
See, worst thing, he's our best defender.
And he's our best defender.
For Disasi, which thing is above 4 out of 10 for Disasi?
Zero. Nothing.
For
Nothing.
Benoit, what is out of 5 out of 10?
Nothing. Nothing.
So it's
Literally
the
nothing.
bar is low. And it's crazy to where we've gotten with the bar being so low.
This is
So
why
now
I'm
we
like,
need to support this manager because he's gotten us this far with
literally players that can't defend. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is why I do sympathize a little bit with Maresca. I really do. And this is what baffles me, Ryan, that in January we're not going to do any business. It baffles me because we're not going to be scoring 3 or 4 every game, man. We're not. There's going to be games like Fulham where you just score 1 and you have to hope that your defense bails you out.
I remember it had a period in time where Tuchel was just doing horrible at Chelsea. It was just the worst tactics, the worst players it had. It just was stagnant. I think that's when Bowley now come. No, even before that, right? And a lot of people was turning on Tuchel. But I said that I'm not gonna. There's a few games under Tuchel I think he played where we were just so fantastic. And it showed me that if we support this manager, this could be a regular occurrence for us. We're just playing outstandingly well. I think that Brentford game, bro, that was the combination there.
Yeah, that was the top.
Let me just see something. I just want to see that starting lineup.
I'm pretty sure that Brentford game was Malo Gusto was on the right, or was it Caicedo on the right side? Anyway, you're gonna find that lineup soon.
Yeah, it was. Was it that match? Was it that match what I'm referring to that we played so well? But yeah, I think it was that match against Brentford. Just the type
Aston
of
Villa as well,
questions
by the way. Aston Villa was very good as well. We played so good against Aston Villa.
type of questions we were asking, the energy, the inverted cross, the true balls, the beaten players, the 1v1s, even the tactical versatility of some players from right back coming into midfield, and then our 8 going as a 10, and it was just some like
It's
art
beautiful.
I was seeing
Yeah.
before my eyes. And that is why I'm not going to turn on this manager, man.
Mm.
This manager could lose his games, but I'm not ever gonna back this board over this manager. Not after what this board has shown me for 2 years.
But you know what, Ryan? If this manager, look, the manager has shown us a lot of good. Yeah, we both agree on that. He's shown us a lot of good. He's shown us that tactically he can tweak things and make it happen. But if this tug of war continues and he's trying to send this message to the board, bro, the table is ruthless, Ryan.
No, it's
Newcastle
already
look like a
shown to be
different,
ruthless.
bro. Newcastle look like a different team now. They look like they're buzzing.
We can't afford
Nottingham
not to be in
Forest,
Champions League. We can't afford not to be in Champions League.
especially when you've created a buffer to be in the Champions League. Especially you've gone through that beautiful run of 8 games to be in the Champions League. And I know in that 8 games there were some Conference League matches as well. I get that. But I'm saying you created that beautiful run of 8 games, and the three now he was so beautifully placed for you to take advantage, and the opposition is closing in. Opposition is closing in.
So,
So Enzo Maresca has to, in one hand, be like, do I keep sending a message or do I start picking up wins?
so what could Maresca do to turn around these results then?
I think go back to where people are at their best. Levi Colwell. Let's start from the back. Levi Colwell. Don't utilize him in wide areas. Start utilizing him in the middle. Build a system that makes sure Levi Colwell is in the middle. That's number one. Number two. Yeah, go on.
Nah, I don't want hold your thought, bro. But that
Yeah.
is a fantastic point, Miz. I just want to kiss you on your forehead. That was a
Bro, just
fantastic
look.
point.
Kiss
Yeah,
me on my forehead, my lips, wherever you want, bro.
nah, bro. Nah. You didn't make such a good point yet, brother. But yo, you just made me lose my train of thought. But no, but that is right, Miz. We are fitting not mediocre but shit players
Yeah.
into our team, but we're getting our key players outside of their best role.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because, for example, Levi Colwell, nobody talks, and we mentioned how important that role in centre back is. That central centre back to when the players press us,
But it
we
starts
hit that ball
everything.
straight.
It
Yeah.
starts everything.
It beats like 2 lines of defense, and all of a sudden Cole Palmer's the ball free, and then everything just goes. And Jackson's in
Yeah.
the game, everything. We moved him here. Now with that, with Kukurea, since we're playing a back three now, our most impactful player, not in defensive duties in midfield and attacking in number 10s and attacking in wide areas, he no longer is doing that role anymore, that free role, which
No.
used to help our defense, but now he's reverted to this wide flank player. So you remove Colwell from his strongest role, you remove Kukurea from his strongest role. Now Enzo is removed from his strongest role, from being that 8 and that number 10. I think it was like an attacking 8. Now he's back to a defensive 6, right?
And
Sometimes
getting
it
ripped to
seems that
shreds again.
Caicedo has more leeway to go up and down than Enzo in the past few games. So Enzo is out of the game now. Now with Enzo not being there, Palmer is getting double marked again. Because it was Enzo who was releasing Palmer those games, and now Enzo's getting double marked.
And
now
Enzo was finding Jackson as well. Remember, Enzo was finding Jackson as well.
Yeah, not even with Gusto now. Just to make up for the missing pieces, like any missing piece it has, let's just put Gusto there. If we need a left-sided attacking midfielder, we have Gusto. If we need a RCB, we have Gusto. I feel sorry for him because people don't realize how tactically flexible he is, and he's only like 22.
Yeah.
Or 23. I don't even know how old he is, but he's young.
He's 22.
Like that, 22. That is a smart player, man. If you could trust your player to play anywhere on that pitch. Yeah. Like I know we get frustrated with him, but he is a very good player to have.
Ryan, remember we said a long time back, Malo Gusto is not someone who doesn't understand the role. He understands the role. He gets it because he's always in the right
He just
spots.
can't deliver.
He just can't deliver.
No, but I
He
think
just can't
when
deliver.
Lavia was playing, and when Gusto started playing like that deep inverted right back, and he wasn't in those number 10 areas anymore, but he still had defenders to help him. I think he played well playing the ball from like a RDM position. He was doing well there. And together with Lavia, and then Caicedo was helping out, and Enzo and stuff like that. So I think.
But coming back to the point, that's how I'd look at it. I'd look at, okay, where is my main key players and where do they need to play at the best? Levi Colwell in the middle. That's number one. Kukure, as you said, needs to be more inverted and have that wherever he needs to go to, be everywhere. Not that long ago, we were saying Kukure is everywhere. Where isn't he? He's at the left. He's at the wing. He's at the half space. He's in midfield. And now we don't seeing that. We need Enzo in the last few matches where he was, not the last few, the prior to that, where he was linking up so well with Palmer, linking up so well with Jackson, and himself picking up assists and goals on a regular, Enzo Fernandez. And now for the last 3 games, we're not seeing that. So I think these 3 is where I would start looking at, and I'd be like, it's ruining my fluidity of my team. Just to fit in Tosin. Just to fit in Tosin in the middle, I'm ruining all its other domino effects. So I think Enzo Maresca,
I know it's not going to happen. I know it will never happen, and maybe it should not happen. A lot of people say it should not. Maybe I believe it shouldn't happen. But I think that we can't count on Lavia. And as long as Lavia is unavailable for 60% of matches for the rest of the season, we're going to have 60% of matches where we can't get the best of our midfield and we can't get the best of our attack.
Yeah.
I think that we need to get a DM in there. And we have a DM who's won the most duels in France.
I said it, but I do not care about Strasbourg.
Yeah.
Get my man here.
He is one of the best midfielders right now. So, and he's best midfielder in the French league. Bring Andre Santos here so we could get the best out of Enzo. Caicedo is experienced campaigner enough to help him.
100%.
Caicedo could help him.
I said it before this 3 matches debacle that we had that
we
January,
need him.
So
if Enzo gets injured, if Enzo knee acts up again, what happened? Well, if Caicedo goes full guns plays 100% every match, you don't think one day his tire is going to pull up? What's going to happen?
But we did.
We're going to play Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall. We said the same thing. There you go.
Yeah.
Dewsbury Hall, bro.
Exactly. We need, because Lavia, let me tell you, I don't know what it's going to take to get him fit, but I just don't believe he's going to be fit this season for more than 2 games in a row.
This is the state of Lavia. Journalists don't even report on him anymore. I didn't even know he was... Bro, I didn't even know he's not available for this game against Ipswich. I didn't even know that. Maresca didn't even say anything about it.
He got elbowed in his head and we never saw him again.
Remember we were saying... Who was it that dropped the people?
The final boss took him out. Rocky.
Since then, my man's gone. My man's not here.
I don't know how somebody could get elbow on the head and then get a thigh injury.
Apparently, he picked up something at halftime as well in that game against Spurs, and then that's why they took him off. But they said that it was minor. It was minor. He was going to be back. But some of these minor, bro, take it as you're missing 5 games. You're missing 5 games. Minor, 5 games. Major, next season. See you later.
You said it, Miz. I think I watch all the videos because he's my favorite YouTuber. But like you said it, that you're talking about that. I think the Strasbourg doctor or something said, if you're out for this amount of games, then you need to double the time before you could get ready to play. And you're thinking, well, what if this is the same thing that's happening to some of our players who get injured? Why is they say Fofana is out for 3 weeks, but it ends up being 7? And then Lavia is out for 3 weeks, but it's 2 months. Like, what's going on?
not just 3 weeks to recover from the injury, then
Yeah.
another 2 weeks to get back into full training, get your
And then
system up
no,
and
no,
running.
no, 2 weeks before you get injured again.
Yeah.
There's a
So,
cycle.
bro, Lavia is a problem.
But
I said,
yeah, Andre Santos, bro, we need to get him in. And
bro,
I know you
I
like Achampong, right?
yeah,
But let me tell you, I think you need to trust me on this. But this guy, I watched some YouTube comps on him, the Boca Juniors guy, and he like the comments from like about 2 months ago, people who watch like Argentinian football,
yeah, yeah,
like they're saying that he's like a special player. He's a
yeah.
really
They
good
rave
player.
about him. They rave about him
And
big
this was
time.
like
Yeah,
before everybody started watching comps today when Fabrizio like burst the news. This is people who like watching from last month
yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah,
They rave
yeah,
about him, man. He's a right-sided centre back. He's great on the ball. I think
yeah.
we're not going to get the
Apparently, he's
best
excellent
solution.
on the ball. Like he's one of those ones where he'll go from the defensive area into midfield seamlessly.
Yeah,
Like he literally becomes a midfielder.
yeah, and that could help. Caldwell go back into that central position. Kukurea be
Yeah,
in that inverted position. This and
yeah.
that.
It's a
So we
solution.
have
It's a
things,
solution.
but the thing is if Maresca and the board could agree on those solutions because it's less than ideal solutions.
Mm, mm,
Like it's not like we're gonna go out there and try to scout a DM or scout a defender, you know. And I think that's
mm.
probably what Maresca probably would have rather sell the Sassy, try to get in a scout and a defender, this and that. So I
And
think
this
that's
is
where
why,
the debacle was.
yeah, no, 100% agreed, man. And this is why there's some conversations from our other guy in Southampton on loan, Uguchuku. He's also a defensive midfielder. I don't rate him as much as highly as some of the other Chelsea fan base do. I rate Andre Santos. I think Andre Santos is in the similar ilk as Romeo Lavia, except fit. He's fit. He's he can provide a lot. And it'll allow us to get back our shape that was doing so well when Lavia was fit for a small amount of time. But it's a problem. It definitely is a problem. But Ryan, we're going to slowly wrap this up, bro. Give me your final thoughts on next up. I think it's Crystal Palace. They're finding some bit of form in the last few games. I don't know whether it's at home or it's away. Let me have a quick look. When is our next? Just check this out. The next game's just around the corner as well. Like matches are coming thick and fast. Away from home to Crystal Palace. Thoughts, Ryan?
Ooh. Well, we have nearly a week to prepare this one. I think Maresca has to solve the issue of how we're going to get our key players playing in positions where they could impact the game, right? And then two, for the players who are playing their correct positions and not impacting the game, how can we get the pep back in the step? How can we get Sancho to that point where he's taking on players like he did in Tottenham? How can we get Pedro Neto to that point where he cut in and scored that goal from outside the box? How can we get Jackson to the point where he dropped deep and turned and took players on? How can we get Cole Palmer to that point? So it's kind of like for players like Desassi and those guys, bro, they're horrible. Just the solution is to replace.
Yeah,
But I think for players like Sancho, Jackson, Cole Palmer, and Pedro Neto, those four, the solution has to be the young players. They did well for us sporadically. How could I increase that consistency now? Maybe we may not get all four of them to fire in one match, but all we need is for two of them to fire out of the four. But we can't have, like in the past two games, where all four did not fire at the same time. So how can we get to that point where the game starts and from the first whistle you say, okay, we have more energy than the next team. We want it more.
Yeah.
Because against Villa we saw it, against Brentford we saw it, against Spurs, we saw it.
Yeah.
But these past 3 games, we did not see that energy.
No.
And could it just be Christmas? Are we thinking too much? Could it just be Christmas season and these young players just fell off? They ate too much, partied too much. Could be
That's not
because
good
I
enough,
don't trust
bro.
the players.
That's not
I
good
don't
enough.
trust these young players
Yeah,
because it's just. What
that's
if
poor
we
behavior,
just made
bro.
an
That's
hour and
poor
a half
behavior.
podcast and the real reason was they just partied too much
I
for
just partied a bit
Christmas?
too much. I partied a bit too
Yeah,
much. But no, look, I can understand that. I can understand that theory and that being an issue maybe one game. I can't
but
understand
3.
that being for 3 because you have to snap out of it,
Yo, we're laughing at City and they could pass us in like a week and stuff.
bro. They're only 4 points away. You think City are just going to be like that forever? They'll find a solution sooner or later. They'll find a solution
And
and
they
it'll
have good
click.
players in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll click. And once it clicks, they'll go on a run.
I wouldn't be
And they ain't
surprised
looking
that
back.
they would finish above us.
But what a slap in the face would that be for us? Like knowing that they went on a 2 wins in 14. Do you know what I mean? And imagine they put it together and they're going. So look, don't even worry about City. Nottingham Forest are ahead of us. I think that is slap enough. Nottingham Forest have got a few new players. They've got a new manager. Why are they ahead of us? Why? They should not be
It's
ahead
gonna be
of us.
interesting next game, bro. It's gonna be interesting.
Bro, I hope Enzo Maresca, to end it, final note, I get the feeling Enzo Maresca knows what the problem is. As Ryan has said all throughout this podcast, I get the feeling he knows what the problem is. He also knows how to fix the problem as well. I just hope that he's not too stubborn and that he fixes it and that he stops this sending the message to the directors and owners because he wants some of his players in this window. Brother, you'll get your players. You'll get your players. Just pick up these 3 points. In the summer, you will get your players.
Champions League football, and you'll get them.
Yeah. Just get back on track. You're doing some mad stuff now with the lineups, with fitting people
This
that are
lineup
not
was
good enough.
unacceptable, bro. This lineup was unacceptable. As I say, you can't drop Jackson and Neto and Sancho all at once. What were you thinking?
No.
And Gusto, 4 of our main attackers.
No. Too many.
In a must-win game. In a
must-win game. I said, okay, one's fine. Like, João Felix, you want to put João Felix in, no problems. But too many. Anywho, Ryan, thank you so much. It's been a fantastic podcast, bro. I hope everyone that's listening, hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. Make sure you follow Ryan on socials and smash the like button. Absolutely smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. We are slowly but surely nearing 38,000. And then we are getting closer and closer to 40, which is going to be a very nice milestone. Lots will be talked about in the next 24, 48 hours until the next game comes around. Until the next week. So interesting times ahead. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button and we shall see you soon. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya. Bye.